What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video in the next episode of the MotoGP 25 Tech3 Challenge for part number 4 today at the Italian Grand Prix at Mugello. It's been a while since we've touched this series, but we're bringing it back in the Tuscan hills of Mugello for round 4 of this MotoGP World Championship season. 4 out of 12 rounds. We've got through 3 of them, and like I say, it's been a while since the Catalan Grand Prix last time out, which involved a little bit of controversy between myself and Pedro Acosta on the fellow KTM. But we're heading into this one, lying 8th in the championship. It's Marc Marquez who controls the standings, 45 points clear, and his teammate Bagnaia has had a struggle. He's only 5th, but they do lead the Teams Championship and the Constructors Championship due to Ducati, and they're hoping for more glory at their home circuit in Mugello, a circuit that Bagnaia has been so strong at in real life, winning every single race there since 2022. He won in 22, he won the sprint race in 23, he won the Grand Prix in 23, he won the Grand Prix in 24, and he won the sprint race in 24 as well, and he'll be going for some more glory in this universe of MotoGP 25 Tech3 Challenge. And we're going to jump straight into qualifying. Q1 for us, only Pedro Acosta made it, and Maverick Vinales made it into Q2 directly. Myself and Nea Bastianini and Brad Binder are the KTMs going through Q1 with a top 2 on our mind to try and progress into Q2 for what might just be the first time for forever since we've last in Q2. I don't actually know if we made it into Q2 so far this season. I think we did in Argentina at the start of the season, but I'd have to go back and check that one out. But anyway, down in towards San Donato for the first time, the very tight right-hander at the end of a very, very quick Mugello front straight where top speed records are broken. But overcast conditions, nice and cool for qualifying. Shouldn't put the tyres under too much stress, and we're going to try and yeah, just put together the best lap that we physically can. Of 45, 46 will probably be a good lap time. Low 40, mid to low 45s is probably the target, and as we cross the line it's going to be a mid 46, so we need to find at least a second, I think, to try and get into the mix. Although saying that, Iagora has done a 44.1, which I think might be the fastest lap of the weekend by about a second, so I'm not sure if that's a glitch or what, because I've skipped time. And Agora's done a 44.1, and we are 2.3 seconds off, 1.6 seconds behind Oliveira, who currently holds the penultimate position on the top 13 Q1 session. So that's not looking too good. And as we head through Pelagio for what will hopefully be our penultimate lap of the session, still got a minute left on the clock. We are just under half a second under our best time, but that is obviously not going to put us anywhere. It's not going to put us within a second of Miguel Oliveira's Prima Pramac Yamaha machine. We've got to try and get a good run through the Biondetti chicane. We do just about get a nice run using a bit of inside curve. We find a couple of hundredths of a second on the brakes into Buccini for the final corner. A little bit wide on the entry. We did touch the green, but we do make up a lot of time. It's going to be about a 7/10 gain on the exit of the final corner, but as we head towards the line, the time is coming down. It's going to be half a second found on our time into the 45s for the first time this weekend, but we're still a second down on Miguel Oliveira, and unfortunately we didn't get the lap after, and it's going to be last on the grid yet again for the MotoGP Tech3 Challenge. We're starting the sprint race from the back and the Grand Prix from the back, and hopefully we can have a bit of a better time of it. Our race pace is always a little bit better than qualifying. We can get in the mix a little bit more than we can pull out a single lap on this KTM bike, but it's going to be difficult starting from the back of the grid at Mugello, but there is lots of possibilities around this Mugello circuit to break our way through and make our way through the field. A lot of swooping corners, a lot of changes of direction, a lot of overtaking places that we can capitalise on. So let's see what we can do then. 4-lap sprint race coming up.
Ago Bagnaia triggered the whole shot device, ready to start from pole position. Just a few more moments and the Grand Prix will begin.
Here we go then, Bagnaia on pole. His teammate Marc Marquez alongside him. And another home hero in Fabio Di Gianantonio on that VR46 bike at Mugello on the front row. But the lights are on at the Italian Grand Prix and the sprint race is underway. It's not the best start, but Joan Mir gets off to a worse start, and we do capitalise on that. Oliveira also getting pushed down the order, as is his fellow Yamaha rider Alex Rins. Zarco getting clipped by Miller and then pushed into the path of us, and then Chantra, I think that is, getting absolutely rammed in towards turn number 1, so it's a bit of carnage. We just took the inside line and we've managed to capitalise on that and move up about 10 places, 9 places or something like that into about 14th position. So a good start to the race for us. In the end, it didn't look like it was going to be a good start as we dumped the clutch, but we are into 14th place and we can try and now just settle into a rhythm up behind Raul Fernandez on the Trackhouse Aprilia. We've got Enea Bastianini and then our teammate as well, Maverick Vinales, just ahead. So if we can clear Raul Fernandez, we will be in a Tech3 train of Vinales, Bastianini and then ourselves, but we've still got the pressure from the factory KTM behind Brad Binder, who's going to have a look into Arrabbiata 1, but no way through for him. Acosta and Agora are under investigation further up the field, but as we head through the Biondetti chicane, we pick up our first track limits warning. We got it all wrong on the left-hander, had to take the inside on the right, and unfortunately let Brad Binder go in the process. But as we come out of Buccini, we get a little bit boxed in as we go for the switchback, a little bit of bike dancing there on the exit of the final corner, and as we head down towards the line, there's a bit of contact between our two teammates of Enea Bastianini and Maverick Vinales further ahead. They're side by side, and as we steam up towards San Donato for the first time at full flying race pace, the Vinales and Bastianini battles ended in I think Enea running wide, and then that kind of dragged in Binder and Fernandez and us, and we all just kind of went wide, but we do come out the best of it and move up into what is P12 now and onto the back of our teammate Maverick Vinales. So we are now in the middle of a Tech3 train and a KTM train as Binder sits on the back of our teammate Bastianini, who gets a track limits warning through the Biondetti chicane. But now our eyes are on Maverick Vinales. Can we get by the Spaniard with just what is a lap to go in this race? We can see the points, we can see the top 9, but unfortunately we get barged out of the way twice by Enea Bastianini, and the points on the table is just getting further and further away now. That P9 that we need to get a single point in this sprint race is not looking likely as we fall back behind our teammate Bastianini. But we are in this battle that is just being led by Quartararo, this train of Quartararo, who's probably in about 6th or 7th place in this point in this race. But out front is Bagnaia, the home hero. He's leading Marc Marquez and DJ Antonio, the top 3 unchanged from the grid positions. But we've still got Bastianini breathing all over us. We managed to get ahead of the Italian briefly, and then he just sends it straight back through on the exit of turn 3 and in towards that chicane. But now down into Casanova and Savelli for the final time in this sprint race. We go right, we go left. We're trying to just line the move up, keep the bike flowing, and see if we can maybe get a nice run through the Arrabbiatas and then attack him into Scarperia at the end of this section of track. So through Arrabbiata 2, we get right up to the back of Enea Bastianini, but I don't think there's going to be any way through as we get caught up on the curb. We have a look to the inside at Scarperia, but we're not close enough to get through on the Italian, and we're now going to try and open up this left-hander of Pelagio, get on the run and see if we can do anything into Corintaio, but I don't think we're close enough again on Enea Bastianini, and he's going to hang on for now, but we're going a little bit tighter, we're carrying a little bit more speed in the middle of the corner, close back into the Italian, and now through the Biondetti chicane we can look to go wide and then cut back on the inside, but we missed the curb on the inside, and I think that's going to be all she wrote for our battle with Bastianini. Vinales is going to be 11th, Bastianini is going to be 12th, and I think we're going to come home in 13th position. We get a good run though out of Buccini, but it's not going to be enough, and we are going to come at the tail end of this Tech3 battle and this Tech3 train across the line. We finished the sprint race in 13th position. It's not a result that I wanted there at all, but the top 3, Bagnaia, Marquez and Digian Antonio, Martin 4th, Quartararo 5th, the 2 Grassini bikes in 6th and 7th. But yeah, no points for us on the board, and we remain on 30. We do hold 8th place in the championship, but we have some work to do in the Grand Prix, it's clear. So let's see what we can do in the 8-lap Grand Prix.
Good morning from Gavin Emmett at the Mugello circuit. We are live for one of the most impressive events of the entire championship. The atmosphere the Italian fans create on these hillsides is simply incredible. In a few moments, we'll move to the main straight to watch the start of the MotoGP race.
Here we go then, the Italian Grand Prix. The skies have cleared, the sun is out, and we are ready to go racing for round number 4 of the MotoGP Tech3 Challenge. The sprint race was not to be for us, no points on the board in 13th position, but we're now heading into the Grand Prix with a newfound confidence and just trying to take the pace at the end of that sprint race. We were in the mix for that top 6, top 5 group So let's see if we can just repeat that and get ourselves in the mix. It's 25-degree air temperature, 45-degree track temperature, so conditions are a lot hotter than they've been throughout the weekend for practice qualifying and the sprint race that was all held in the overcast conditions. But we've got a little bit of work to do if we want to get some good points. I'm aiming for a top 7 would be nice, a top 6, something like that, but we need to make the moves early on in the race to get track position in the opening couple of corners. We know that the AI, if they act like they did in the sprint race, there is time to be found, the positions to be found at turn 1 especially. So Bagnaia on pole, same grid as the sprint race. Bagnaia's lap on Saturday got him that position and a sprint race victory. Can he go and do the double in this one? We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure Gigi Dall'Igna and Davide Todozzi will be hoping for the more of the same as Ducati locked out the podium at their home sprint race. Marc Marquez, leader of the championship, relinquished a few points to Bagnaia, who jumped up to 3rd in the World Championship after the sprint race, despite heading into this round down in 5th place. So that shows how close it is. Just a couple of points swing for Bagnaia, and he jumps up into the top 3, and he can start to try and pile the pressure now on his teammate Marc Marquez. But we've got to pile the pressure on everybody, starting from the back of the grid. We've got to try and get a good start, which we didn't do in the sprint race, get in the mix early on, and hopefully we can leave Mugello with a couple of points in the bag.
The lights are about to go out. Pecco Bagnaia is starting from the front row thanks to that pole position from yesterday. All hell will break loose in a few moments.
Here we go then. Tension rises on the grid of the Italian Grand Prix. 8 laps ahead of us. We're starting from the back of the grid once again, and we are racing in Mugello. It's a better start for pretty much everybody. We don't get lucky with Mia, but we do actually as we head towards turn number 1. Mia and Chantra both rolling off. Rins rolling off as well, and we do gain a couple of positions on the way into turn 1. We're going to take the inside line. There's contact further ahead with Zarco and Fernandez, and Ralph Fernandez has crashed on the Trackhouse bike. And again, just like the sprint race, we held the inside line and we've managed to get through into P11. So we're actually a couple of places higher than we were in the sprint race. Obviously, Ralph Fernandez crashing out gave us a position as well. But on the exit of turn number 3, we're side by side with Zarco, who comes back at us after getting briefly ahead of the Frenchman on that LCR Honda Castrol bike. But we do end up relinquishing the position to him. And then that allows Fermin Aldeguer to battle his way through as well and get through on the Gresini Ducati. But around the outside, we can't quite make that one work as we both go for the same piece of tarmac at Cervelli. But we've got a faller in the background. It looked like Miguel Oliveira from the levers that I saw of the rider on the circuit. So Oliveira on the Prima Pramac Yamaha. I don't think he's yet to actually score a point in this championship. I think he's the only rider who has yet to score a point in this opening 4 rounds of the season. And obviously the 4th round being here in Mugello, where he's not going to get no points anymore as he crashes out on the opening lap. He is still running in this race, but it's a long way back as Viñales, our teammate, runs into the back of us. And Agora also making Fermin Aldeguer check up on the Gresini bike. So we've managed to get ahead of him thanks to a little bit of a boost from Viñales, who I just saw briefly before we went to the off-board external shot. That got a little bit of a track limits warning there at the Biondetti chicane, but through Buccini we go a little bit wider. That gives Fermin Aldeguer running that harder front tyre on the Gresini to look up the inside, but no way through for him as we barrel away now across the line to end the opening lap in P11, the cusp of the top 10. Iagora currently holding that 10th place, and as we head down into turn number 1, getting on the brakes nice and hard, we're going to just naturally use the lines of the AI to make our way up into 10th position using that tighter line from us, and we do get through on the Japanese and we are up into 10th position with now eyes on once again Pedro Acosta. We find ourselves locked in a battle with the Spaniard on the factory KTM, just like we did last time out in Catalonia, but we don't find a way through the opening couple of corners on the Spaniard. We're going to have a look though into Casanova. Down the inside there's a bit of contact. We run each other wide and it's a harsh move on Pedro Acosta, one that maybe shouldn't have happened. We just kind of got dragged in a little bit, whether it's the aero effect on the game or what, but we just kind of got a little bit sucked in and just made a bit of contact there with Pedro Acosta, but nothing too major. We're both still on the bike and we're both still in this race in 9th and 10th place, but I think Acosta's going to get a run back because we've made a mistake at the top of Casanova, the exact place We made the move on Pedro Acosta, and we will have to roll out of that, give him the position, albeit briefly, because back at Arrabbiata 1, we get back through. We just used the natural pace that we were carrying there just to put our bike back up the inside, and now he's under pressure from Agora, and then Fermin Aldeguer comes through, gets his way through. So Aldeguer up into 10th position. Is he going to make the move stick? He is, as we change camera angles. So the Spaniard on the Grassini bike, the rookie, is up ahead of Pedro Acosta in this one, who was obviously a sensational rookie back in 2024, struggling a little bit now with the factory KTM as we head through the Biondesti chicane for the third time in this race. Alex Marquez, Fermin Aldeguer and Zarco all getting track limits, so 2 riders ahead of us in Alex Marquez and Zarco with track limits wardens hanging over their heads. But again, on lap number 4, we make another mistake at Casanova and Savelli, and Fermin Aldeguer doesn't need a second invitation on that Grassini bike to come steaming through and up into 9th place. So making a few little silly mistakes in places there we really don't need to be, just trying to push that a little bit extra to try and catch this group in front that involves the 2 Pertamina VR46 bikes. It's got Alex Marquez in it, it's got Zarco at the tail end of it, but there's just no way that we can really catch the group at this moment in time. But there's a bit of a space on the inside to look to the inside of Fermin Aldeguer, but we can't get through into Corintaio. It would have been a big brave move up the inside, I think, there, because we were so equally matched on the brakes through that right-hander. But Aldeguer looking a little bit vulnerable as he head through the Biondesti chicane. We might get a run on him into Puccini. There's half a run. We look to the outside to cut to the inside in the middle of the final corner, and we do get the move done. So a nice move there, if I do say so myself, from Fermin Aldeguer, opening up the corner and then cutting to the inside in the middle, and we do move back up into 9th place. But you can see that group of Alex Marquez, the 2 VR46 bikes, DJ Antonio not having the Grand Prix they would have hoped for after securing that front row and that podium in the sprint race. He's currently down in 6th position, I think that is, but there's contact with myself and Aldeguer, who just comes steaming into the back of us, and I just don't know what it is with the AI at the minute in MotoGP, as Aldeguer again giving us a bit of a push. I know we were a bit slower in the middle with that wheelie, but Aldeguer absolutely T-boning us into turn number 1, and he does get a warning for that irresponsible riding, as he really should do, because we were only just making the corner. We were in deep ourselves, and Aldeguer just using us as a brake as we head through Casanova for the 5th time. We get it stopped this time, but Aldeguer runs into the back of us again, and again on the exit of Savelli. It's like, alright, I understand if you're going a bit faster than me, but just don't run into the back of me, because then that just upsets the bike. It can damage our bike, as we've seen in the past, and it just gets a little bit frustrating when you're trying to ride your race and you're being hit and pushed offline left, right and centre. But as we skip on a little bit in this race onto the penultimate lap, we've managed to get a head down. We've managed to actually get into the 45s in race trim, a 45.8, which I'm pretty sure is faster than our qualifying lap of a 45.9. So we are finding pace. However, the big story breaking from this Grand Prix is Johan Zarco, who is in this battle just ahead of us in 7th place behind Alex Marquez and up in front of Morbidelli. Has been given a long lap penalty for track limits at the Biondesti chicane. So we need to now get everything that we can to get into this group, because there might be a free position for us to break into the top 8 in this final lap of the race. A 45.799 on that last lap, a 45.8 the lap before. So we are finding pace now in Mugello. We are matching Bagnaia's 45.716 at the front of this race. So our pace at the end is as quick as the leaders, which is frustrating because we didn't have the confidence or the pace at the start to really attack anybody. We go a little bit wide at Arrabbiata, but nothing too major down into Scarperia, and then Piaggio for the final time. Out of Piaggio, we get right up on the curb, and will Zarco take the penalty? He does. Zarco moves to the left-hand side of the track into the long lap loop at Corintaio. It's going to be close with the Frenchman. It's going to be side by side as we're coming out, but we do get through, and we are ahead of the LCR Honda Castrol bike and Johan Zarco through the Biondetta chicane. Got to do nothing too major. We get caught up on the top of the exit curb and down in towards the final corner of Puccini for the final time. It's going to be 8th position, I think, unless Zarco can get the run on us out of this final corner. He's not close enough. Martin's going to take 3rd. He's going to beat Dijan Antonio to that one. Quattararo 5th. Marquez 6th. Morbidelli 7th. But we do take 8th position and a good couple of points on the board for the Tech3 team ahead of Zarco and Aldeguer. But it is Bagnaia who dominates his home race ahead of Marc Marquez. The final point going to Bastianini, so everybody but Brad Binder on a KTM getting points. Luca Marini unfortunately crashed out of the race. He was out pretty early on in the Italian Grand Prix, so not the home Grand Prix he would have hoped for at all. But it is Pecco Bagnaia, the man on the factory Ducati. He beats his teammate by over 2 seconds to take victory and move within 1 point of Fabio Quartararo in the World Championship, but it still remains 59 points behind Marc Marquez with work to do, because next up on the calendar is Aragon. So we're doing a bit of a reverse to the real life Aragon then Mugello. We're doing Mugello then Aragon, so Marc Marquez's backyard and the circuit that he's been so dominant at is coming up next in this Tech3 challenge. Ducati continues to lead the way in the constructors. The Pertamina VR46 team jump up into second in the team's championship, behind the factory Ducati team as well. But that is it for round number 4, and as I say, next up on the calendar is Aragon, and hopefully we can get a good result there. Not one of my favourite circuits, but we've added it in as a little bit of a curveball. So let's see what we can do in Aragon. So until then, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys on a brand new video very soon. So until then, goodbye.